the IFI IPHONO 3 Black Label. My first thought, okay, this is pretty cool. I like the design, it's different, and it's sleek. And then I flip it over, and I'm like, what did I just get myself into? Jokes aside, the amount of dip switches is intimidating at first glance, but no worries, it's simple and opens this preamp for compatibility with practically anything, but more on that later. As for the features, the IPHONO 3 has a very interesting features. It runs on a version of Class A they call Class A tube state, which is described to minimize the loading of the amplifier circuit and at the same time biases the output stage of the integrated circuit amplifier into a single-ended Class A rather than a Class AB. Tube state's intended focus is not to add synthetic harmonics. Instead, it creates a sound that combines the best features of tube sound with the best modern solid state. Low distortion, low noise. So what's inside it? For one, we have third generation upgraded circuit that has top-notch op amps and hand-matched P&P bipolar transistor Class A tube state buffer. We have hand-matched Burr-Brown JFETs, Panasonic PCPU film capacitors, Nichicon and TDK capacitors, computer-matched bipolar input transistors, and Vishay resistors. Basically, we have a lot of artillery jammed in this pretty small package. So what's your point? Yeah, we have all these nice components. What am I actually getting from this? Well, for one, you're getting a dynamic range of 107 dB. That's achievable by keeping the noise levels extremely low. This pre goes up to 72 dB of gain, so a low noise floor is something you will notice. Yeah, we have some dips. The design of the IPHONO is to accommodate pretty much any cartridge. When you flip it over, you are greeted with 24 dip switches in 3 sections. Gain settings, loading capacitance for moving magnet cartridges, loading resistance for moving coil cartridges, as well as the RIAA equalization curve. The IPHONO comes with a guide for setting these switches, and after reading through it a few times, I understood it quite easily. If you need further assistance with your particular cartridge, you can actually go to the IFI website and use their calculator. It allows you to select the cartridge type, load in ohms, and the EQ curve you want to use. It will display a chart, and then it's as simple as flipping a few switches, and you're ready to go. Your gain options are going to be 36, 48, 60, and 72 dB for our really needy friends. EQ goes further than any other phono pre I have. In addition to the normal standard of RIAA curve, we also have ERIAA, Columbia, DECCA, IEC, and ERIAA plus IEC. It certainly opens up another world of fine-tuning for older LPs on different curves, but for my listening, I use RIAA and left it there for all of my testing. Looking at the externals, we have 2 sets of inputs, one set for MC and another for MM, as well as a grounding post in the center. It's a little crowded there, but they do include a ground extension that I decided to use. It's not needed, but it does free up a little space during the install. On the other end, we have 3 RCA outputs, as well as 3-way switch for selecting Columbia, RIAA, or DECCA, as well as the power input. Not much else to note here on the outside of the 3 LEDs on the top of the case. The power supply is a separate product, but is included in the IPHONO price. It's the iPower X. It uses IFI's active noise cancellation circuit, which cancels incoming EMI and RFI noise. It's nice to see this power supply upgrade included in the cost. According to IFI, they added solid organic semiconductors to its output filter for better suppression of its high-frequency noise. The iPower X is the upgrade over the original iPower. Input capacitance is 50% larger, and output capacitance is actually 150% larger over the original. While we're on this topic of what's included, it also comes with a set of RCA cables, a grounding adapter that you can plug into an IEC socket at the end of your power cord. This is for situations that you might need to provide a ground in an alternative manner. So how does it sound? I set the IPHONO in between my Threnz TD160 and the Audiolab 6000A. The way this device is built, it seems to me that you would likely place it behind your components. As we have cables coming out of both ends, it's unlikely you will have this on display with the rest of your system. It's a bit more difficult to manage cables without everything coming out the back like most other preamps you would see. I plugged in my specs into the calculator on the IFI website for a Denon DL103R. I bounced back and forth between a couple settings that were borderline, but shortly after found the sweet spot I was looking for. First impressions was that it was very silent. The noise floor is extremely low, the lowest that I've heard. Picture an absolute black background, basically. Listening to Alanis Morissette on the Jagged Little Pill album, we often get a bit of shrill in the lead vocal. That can be a bit fatiguing at higher volumes. I was curious what this Class A tube state circuit could do with this. Would it mellow it out, offer a tube-like sound? It did to a point. During the song Hand in My Pocket, I would say there was added body to the sound, a bit less of the overly sharp characteristics that hold you from turning it up a little louder. I don't think something like this replaces a tube preamp by any means, but I like where IFI is going with this. Next I had the Almost Famous soundtrack on. That's the Way from the Led Zeppelin 3 album was on. Lots of strings in this one, and the IPHONO really shined. Even though this track can be a little harsh, I was able to keep turning it up, crisp highs, and the imaging improved as the track gained volume. Last but not least, Nirvana Unplugged in New York. It's a live recording, but the quality is up there. The track Lake of Fire, the IPHONO balanced the rasp of Kurt's voice and the live instruments really well. I didn't find there to be really any added grit or distortion outside of what is welcomed in the live recording such as this. The IPHONO just seems to have things figured out. I wasn't able to really find any weak spots. All the dynamics and details were handled very well and clean. So how does the IPHONO 3 stack up? Why should you buy a premium phono preamp over many of the great budget options such as the IFI Zen Phono or the Schiit Mani 2? The simple answer is that you will just get more with the IPHONO. The backgrounds will be blacker, the soundstage depth will be more immersive, the details will be finer. The two I mentioned, the IFI Zen Phono and the Mani 2, are both great options for those looking to get into a separate preamp. I've reviewed them both and gave recommendations for both products. The Zen Phono can match the gain levels of the IPHONO and offer a bit more flexibility over cartridge types over what the Mani 2 offers, which is limited to 60 dB of gain, but the Mani 2 really shines with its exceptional transparency and accuracy. So in conclusion, if you're looking for a phono stage that is of high quality and can easily grow with your system, I fully recommend the IPHONO 3. It's not a budget piece by any means, nor is it a piece that will shine in your shelf, as it will likely be hidden behind your other components. But it is a piece of hardware that I have no doubts will impress you. There's a lot of thought put into this one. It offers compatibility, performance, and many improvements over previous iterations. And it just sounds really good. So thanks for watching today. I'll see you guys later. Bye.